Hi friends, welcome back to Bytown by Bike. Today we're doing a little 40k ride eastward out to Cumberland, Ontario, Canada. Stick around. So we started off our ride today heading northeast along the River pathway towards Vanier. Now Vanier does have a bit of a reputation for being one of the rougher parts of town. And while that might be true in some pockets of the neighborhood, it's also a diverse, beautiful, historic part of town and a rich bastion of Franco-Ontarian culture. It's got lots of beautiful parks, especially along the River. There's public art all over the place. There's even an urban sugar bush. I mean, come on, that's pretty rad. Now, as we make our way through the neighborhood, here's some more quick-fire facts about Vanier. It was an independent city until 2001 when it merged with the rest of Ottawa, and it was originally known as Eastview until it was renamed in 1969 to honor Georges Vanier, the first Francophone Governor-General of Canada. Now, as we exit Vanier, we turn onto a beautiful tree-lined path that'll take us north along the Aviation Parkway towards the Canadian Aviation and Space Museum and the Ottawa River. Now, one really good thing about Ottawa, especially if you're visiting, is there are actually a ton of museums and galleries, that kind of thing, and they're really great. And the Canadian Aviation and Space Museum is no exception. They've got a huge hangar filled with all kinds of historic aircraft. They got a cool section that's all about the Canadian space program. You can even buy a ride on a Cessna or a helicopter, so pretty cool. Good way to spend an afternoon. Now, I know I mentioned at the beginning of this video where our destination is, where we're going today, which is Cumberland. And at this stage, you might be asking yourself, why? Well, let me tell you, the Aviation and Space Museum isn't the only game in town. Now, aside from being a quaint, historic rural community, Cumberland has its own kind of impressive museum, and it's called the Cumberland Heritage Village. It's actually a pretty major attraction in the area. It depicts life in rural eastern Ontario in the 1920s and 1930s. It's got historic buildings, cool animals, and all sorts of artifacts. It's worth checking out for sure. But in the summer months, they have something really special. More on that in a bit. First, let's get back to the ride for a few moments. So leaving the Aviation Museum, we headed down towards the Ottawa River by way of Bill Lynn's Big Pathway. Now, this is just a short little walking path that kind of connects the Sir Georges Cartier Parkway with the Ottawa River pathway, but it was nice, tree-lined, good vibes in the forest. I like it. Now, speaking of good vibes, I absolutely love this section of the Ottawa River pathway. Such good vibes. You kind of feel like you're out in the country, right on the water. There are beautiful views. There's great spots to sit and have a bite to eat or just hang out. They've got Muskoka chairs set up. That's right, I said Muskoka chairs. They are Muskoka chairs, not Adirondack chairs, Muskoka chairs. This is Canada, man. Come on. My wife sometimes calls them Adirondack chairs. It's okay, though. We're seeking counseling about it. It's going to be fine. Okay, back to the ride. So for the most part, you are staying right along the Ottawa River pathway for the entire way right out to Orleans. However, there are some sections that kind of change things up, bring you back up through some forested areas, back along the Georges Cartier Parkway, and then back down towards the river a bit. You get it. It kind of changes things up, but basically it's the same pathway network right out to Orleans. I kind of like that though. It changes up the scenery a bit. You get some hilly sections. It just makes it a bit more interesting and more fun. I gotta say too, I really lucked out with the weather that day. I mean, it was beautiful, sunny for the most part, barely any wind, really warm but not oppressively hot or humid, just really good riding weather, and there was lots of other folks out, so, I guess they got the memo. Now, speaking of having lots of people out on the paths, it's really important to pay attention, be careful of pedestrians. These are shared pathways. Most of the pathways in Ottawa are. So, the speed limit's there for a reason and everything, but just be aware of who's around you. Slow down if there's lots of people, make sure you're using your bell or giving people a heads up that you're going to pass, all that kind of stuff. It's good. It goes a long way. Now, at this section of the pathway, we're getting pretty close to Orleans. We might even actually be in Orleans, but there's some really nice sections of the pathway with little cute bridges and treed areas and all of that. And something that's particular to Ottawa this time of the year, this close to the river anyways, is flooding. I acknowledge that's not a good thing for the most part, but when you're riding through a forest and there's water on kind of either side of the pathway, there's something kind of enchanting about it, like you're on a magical little causeway or something. I don't know, I really like it. I know it's not good for other reasons, but it's nice for a ride. Okay, now that we've made it the better part of the way through Orleans, we're going to need to make our way up to Old Montreal Road, basically because the Ottawa River pathway kind of stops at this point. Now, for those of you who aren't super familiar with Ottawa, there's really kind of three major suburbs. There's Orleans in the east end, which is where we're riding through right now, and then there's Barrhaven in the south end, and Canada in the west end, which is where I grew up. Now, Canada and Barrhaven were always kind of more Anglo-dominant, I guess, neighborhoods or suburbs, where Orleans was a little bit more Francophone-dominated. And I think that's true of Ottawa in general. Like, the East End is more Francophone, West End is typically more Anglophone. Now, since we're getting close to Cumberland itself, I better make good on my promise to tell you guys about the special events thing that happens at the Heritage Village. So in a back corner of the property at the Heritage Village, the Ottawa Valley Live Steamers and Model Engineers run a track. What's special about this track is they have real live model steam engines that you can actually ride. This is such a cool activity for kids. We took our son there for the first time a couple years ago and he was obsessed with it. Just wanted to go over and over again. Really great way to spend an afternoon. I think they do it once a month during the summer months, but I'll provide a link in the bio where you can find more information about it. Well, friends, if you like this video or found it at all interesting, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing with a friend, all that good stuff. In the meantime, ride well, friends.